Hey guys, if you're a viewer of the channel and you like my teaching style, you find it helpful for your overall Valorant improvement to your skill, you'll really find my Valorant Fundamentals course even more useful. It's a 2-hour course for only $5 on my Patreon and link down below. It teaches you all the bare necessities that you'll need in order to hit Immortal. If you like my normal teaching style, like my normal content, you'll really find this helpful. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Peace. Hey guys, this morning I was wanting to make a Valorant video and I thought of the idea to teach you how to attack like an Immortal player. And so basically there's one thing specifically that I want to emphasize, and that has to do with being unpredictable. And throughout all the people that I coach and throughout a lot of the lower ranked games that I understand from how people play, they kind of just do the same thing a lot. And so if you go into this habit of you just kind of go to A every round, or you just go to B every round, or you're just following your team every round and you don't really have a purpose behind what you're doing, then the problem is that you're not going to be as impactful for your team because you're not thinking why you're going there. You don't have a reason. So, you know, if you're going somewhere because you're trying to counter someone or because you're trying to get a pick, there's a much higher chance of that actually working than, you know, just following your team or going A every round because, you know, that's what your team is doing or whatever, right? And that's especially true whenever your team is not winning in that area. So your team keeps going A and it's just not working, and but yet you're still doing the same thing along with the rest of your teammates. You need to be doing something different. Now, this is especially common among gold players and below, but this is also very common in ranks above gold. But, you know, people in ranks above gold have better aim, so it's kind of like, even if you're going to the same side every round, you can still make it work. But, yeah, so first things first, pick up the spike even if you're a duelist. So I'm going to be talking more about kind of being unpredictable, and not even just being unpredictable, just doing stuff that even if they expect it, it's going to like still give you a higher chance to actually win rounds and secure kills, especially as a duelist, right?
Spike drop.
So if you're a duelist, grab the spike, bring it over here. I like to throw it in this area so that way anyone from top cat or from over here can grab it. Now from here we have a couple ways that we can go. The most common way to go is A main. So I'm actually not really going to talk about that. I've talked about this countless times on my channel. I'm going to talk about going up catwalk, and this is something I actually do a lot, especially on pistol round. I'll buy like a ghost or a sheriff depending on how I'm feeling, and then I'll a lot of the time come here. And if you ask yourself how many times, when was the last time that I walked up all the way cat, either on your own or with one other person, and how was it successful, right? So the odds of this strat actually working are quite high. The main risk here is of course getting peeked from mid, but you have to be willing to take this fight. As a duelist, you need to be willing to take this fight. Always look over here. I said this before on my channel as well. If someone peeks B main, you want to be ready for that. But look mid. If someone peeks you, you need to be ready for that fight, and quickly shift your attention here and start clearing this out, and then clear up here, check here, corner, right? So everything is clear at this point. You're now up cat, right? So to be honest, it's pretty easy to get from here to here, and you'd be surprised, right? This seems like extremely risky, and in your mind you're probably like, Duckeeh, why would you ever do this? This seems so risky. Obviously if you're against an op, then don't do this because, you know, it's much riskier. But for first round, or if you think you can get away with this, I would highly recommend trying this. So again, shift lock all the way up here, check the B main push, clear all this out, and once all this is cleared out, now we need to clear out tree and garden, and then we can do one of two things. So we can come here, clear this, always clear close here because I'll sometimes play here. This is something, there's also sometimes strips here, but you'd be surprised how many times not only is there not a player here, but there's also no trip. So you can just walk in for free. You can just walk in and there's absolutely nobody here, right? So now we have a couple of options. Once we've came all the way up cat, we're in tree, we've cleared out tree, there's no trip, you have not been spotted yet. You can either go in garden, which is my personal favorite, or you can come to site and help your team secure site. So typically I would always go garden into heaven or spawn unless my team really needs help. Like say it's a 2v4 and we need to get site, you probably need to go site at that point, especially if your teammate's kind of like already coming out or something. But otherwise what I would do is come up here, check corners, make sure there's nobody here. Again, more likely than not there's going to be nobody here. You'd be very, very surprised how often nobody plays here, especially in, like I said, the ranks below gold and below. Even in high ranks, like even in Immortal I do this, and people just they don't expect it. It's just like, how do they not expect it, right? It seems like you think they'd expect it, but for the first 1 or 2 times you do this, you're gonna get away with it. And again, we're talking about being unpredictable. So this strat is not something you should do every single round, but this is something you should absolutely try, especially if you're a duelist, but even if you're not a duelist. So here, if this glass is not broken, you can come up to it, break it, and then kind of swing heaven, and there's more than likely going to be one heaven. If it is broken, you can come through, and it's even easier, right? Because you don't have to make noise. Now, another option here, once we've cleared all this out and we're up here, we can walk through garden and come to spawn. This is especially good if our team already has sight and we're already planting the spike. Say we're in like a 4v3 post plant, and there's 3 enemies. We hear 2 running in from spawn. You can either sit like right here or like right here. Most time, again, especially in the lower ranks, people are just going to run here with their knives out and not even clear this right side. In higher ranks, people might clear it like this. They might look over here, but not really expecting someone, so they might kind of look like this, or might have bad crosshair placement when they look over. But rarely will someone actually clear this like this, right? Except for in very high Immortal and Radiant, in my experience anyway. Maybe that's changed now, but you know, so these are my 2 of my favorite spots to go, and these are things that you can do to swap up your typical strategies. I'm basically, guys, in this video trying to show you different strats, different ways of attacking that are really effective, but also not very common. So the most common ways of pushing would be pushing B main, pushing A main. And so this is different, right? Another thing that's quite different that you can do is push mid. And again, this is something that I like to do. I don't do it all the time. You don't do any type of push all the time. If you're going B main every single round or A main every single round, you're doing something wrong. I don't do that, right? I swap it up. I do something consistently different, repeatedly different, right? So this is another trick that I have up my sleeve, right? Is to go up mid. So again, if you have spike and your team's toward B, come drop the spike over here instead of leaving it in spawn. So here, again, you have to be willing to take these fights, so don't peek this with a classic. Maybe have a sheriff. So peek here. This is actually pretty common to be peeked. I'll admit that. So, you know, like I said, you can get up here without being spotted, but sometimes people actually will be peeking here. And then you can peek mid, and then you're just going to slowly walk out. You don't want to make noise. You don't want to be loud. If someone's going to peek you, kill them, and it's a free kill, right? That's just kind of the idea. If you die, that's fine. You can try again. But here we're going to slowly peek mid. Make sure there's not someone in this corner. That would be kind of annoying. And you have to clear right and left here. But now we're just walking up mid. I like to walk up the left side. And again, you'd be surprised how often there's not a trip here. Until you come up here, abuse this, and then they're going to start tripping this. So clear pizza, make sure there's nobody there. And I like to kind of come over here, clear switch, clear here. They could be right here. And then now, again, we have 2 options. So again, you'd be surprised how often you can get into this position without anybody knowing on the enemy team. It's very surprising. I know I've said that a lot, but it's very true because I've done this countless times, and it works. So if you're not trying this, if you've never tried this, this is something you should do. Don't just not do it because it feels uncomfortable, because it feels like it's dangerous. Oftentimes, those are the best plays you can actually go for as a duelist, especially as a Jet or a Reyna, because you have those dash and dismiss abilities, and you have the heal abilities, right? So if you take a fight right here, you get caught off, you kill them, but you're at 10 HP, you can heal, or you can dismiss to safety and have your team support you or heal you, right? Whatever. So from here we have 2 options, right? We've walked up mid safely. It's just kind of like we got up to here. Now it's like, what do we do, right? You can either do one of 2 things again, kind of depending on what your team's doing. So if your team is down and they need help to take B, you might want to come through market. But in my opinion, I really like to cut off rotations here by coming up to here. So this is my favorite way to play this, is to come right here. Again, this is something that is expected in very high ranks, but this is not something that's expected in pretty much every other rank below like mid immortal. So you can just sit here, and what's going to happen once your team's planting B, they're planted, your team has sight secured, there's nobody on the enemy team toward B, and there's like 2 or 3 people rotating from A, then this is just going to be free kills for you, because they're not going to clear this. You can even wait until they both cross and then just kill both of them. And I wouldn't recommend pushing too far here. You don't really need to. They will be coming to you because you're in such a good positional, you have such a good positional advantage. We can walk up here, and again, we can play this spot, or we can even sit like pizza if, for example, we know someone likes to come from mid, or we can hold like one of these 2 angles, right? This is a little bit of a dangerous spot. Pizza in general is just not my favorite spot, but again, you can also just run to B, go lane, go wherever, play up here, play here. So basically, you know, this is something really good to do either as a lurk or with a teammate or 2. Again, you're not lurking every round. This is just a play you can do occasionally throughout the half. I would recommend lurking no more than 3 to 4 rounds and a half, because it begins to become quite predictable. And yeah, guys, these are the main things that I would do on this map. But just to kind of broaden everything now, just think about other maps, right? So if your standard is to just follow where your team goes and never do your own thing, especially if you're a duelist, you should really start to be finding these types of routes that kind of open your play up to more potential opportunities, right? Because if we're always going A, we don't have this opportunity to come up window or to cut spawn off whenever they rotate. Like these plays are so strong, and if you're not looking for them, you won't find them. If you're on bind and you're always going to A, if you're always following your team and you're not looking for those plays, then what are you going to do, right? So for bind, for example, just off the top of my head, I like to flank short a lot. So, I'll peek out B hookah, and then if there's no one there, I'll just flank A short. Same thing with A short. Same thing with A showers. If there's no one there, I'll just flank A short. Those are things you probably don't currently do, and there's things across all maps that you probably don't currently do that you could do that would make you a stronger attacker, a less predictable attacker, and overall just a stronger player. So hopefully this video is helpful, guys. Sorry I haven't been posting a lot. I just kind of not really been feeling Valorant currently. I've actually been playing a lot of a game called Dead by Daylight. I've been considering uploading a few videos of that. But I'm still here. I love coaching. I still love teaching this game. It's just I haven't been as much interested in playing it, and whenever I'm not as much interested in playing it, I tend not to make videos on it as much, even though I still want to for you guys, because you guys are a great community. Love you guys. Enjoy your holiday break, and peace. Peace.